If you're watching this video, chances are you're scaling the wrong Facebook ad campaign. Every year we audit over 300 ad accounts at paidadvertising.com, and one of the most common mistakes I see across these accounts is optimizing for the wrong event, or at least scaling with the wrong incentive. And so in this video, I want to show you what is right, what is wrong, and how can you apply that for your 6 or 7 figure e-commerce and info product business. Now, if you're new to the channel, you don't yet know who I am. My name is Justin Lalonde, and I'm the founder at paidadvertising.com, where on the one hand, we help businesses implement a scalable ad engine, and on the other, we grow e-com and info businesses to multi-7 figures with paid ads. With that being said, we've profitably spent and advised on over $15 million in ad spend in the last 12 months alone, and let's get straight into today's video. So what you see now opened up in front of me right here is the internal scorecard that we're using with one of our info product / coaching clients. Now, here, this is just for context. I'll show you 2 live ad accounts in a second where this is applicable. But one thing that I see right here is that there's a disconnect between what people use, especially on the media buying and advertising side, and what actually matters as bottom line profit at the end of the day. So in other words, it's like what you should be optimizing for is as close as possible to the bank account. What do I mean here? It's like, well, advertising dollars should at some point end up converting in what is left in the bank account at the end of the day, okay? So advertising spend is what's left in the bank account. Now you're like, Justin, I know this. Yeah, but are you putting that into practice, right? And so looking into this right here as an example, it's like, well, if I go into the ads manager, okay? This is one of our clients' ad accounts right here once again. For all of our hiring funnels, to give you an idea, there's 3 campaigns that we're actively running right now to hire more people internally. So sales team, success team, coaches, etc. Now, so the actual optimization event right here is a pre-qualification form, and not everybody actually sends back an event to Meta. It's only qualified applicants. So here, essentially, every single role and applicant funnel that we have at the forefront, we ask like a couple questions just to pre-qualify the candidate before we ask them then a lot more questions. And so if they're qualified, the event fires and sends back to Meta. I did do a very recent video on the channel talking about how to get only qualified leads and buyers through seasoning or conditioning your Meta pixel. And this is a great example of that, but for a hiring purpose, where you can do the same thing. Whatever is a higher qualified applicant is what we send back to Meta. And so that's what we're doing right here. But the thing is, a pre-qualified, qualified candidate is not necessarily a candidate who has gone through the entire process and then ended up booking an interview at the end of the day. And what do we want? We want people who are pre-qualified, or we want a full-fledged applicant who took 45 minutes to go through the entire process and ends up booking a call. That's what we want, right? Which is as close as possible to a hire, which if I translated this same exact concept to sales, it's like, do you want leads, or do you want somebody who ends up making an actual purchase and books a call and so on and so forth? For e-commerce businesses, it's like, do you want traffic? Do you want add to carts? Or do you want a high AOV purchaser? Well, probably the latter, right? So going back to the video at hand right here. Now, when we look into our advertising data, especially when it comes to the sales funnel, as an example right here, like I'm going to specifically highlight this one. You can see that over the last few days, we have like a $48 cost per pre-qualification, which is really good. Honestly, it's like super solid when we look at it. And then if I go back to the form right here, on a given week, look into the opt-ins that we have right there. Okay, this is the amount of people who are currently opting in to our ads. So the first step that are like applying essentially for a pre-qualification. So here we have some of our KPIs right now is to hit 3,000 opt-ins in the month. So 3,000 candidates who start the application process. Well, about halfway through the month, we're at about 1,820 candidates, which is, we're definitely on par with the target. We're on track to hit that target. But the interesting part and where it actually gets dangerous is this is what we're optimizing for on Ads Manager right now. We're optimizing for people who are opting in, which right now it looks like we're doing great. So if this is the only piece of data I would take into consideration, I would go out here and like scale like crazy to be like, great, let's just crank up the ad spend and scale to the moon. The problem with that is look downstream. Our actual KPI is to get 10% of our total opt-ins to convert into a full-fledged application, okay? Now, we're definitely not on track with that, because if we were, we'd have about 180 total application. We have 21. So we have a huge bottleneck right now. This is why this KPI is like in red right here. Very, very big bottleneck right now. in the amount of applications started versus application completed. So that tells me that the funnel has a problem because we're getting people into the funnel. There's only two possible outcomes right here. It's either that there's a funnel problem, which is the possibility number one if we want, or possibility number two is that the people that we send to get pre-qualified are actually really bad applicants. And so most of them end up getting disqualified and don't end up getting pushed down in the process. Those are the only two outcomes that could, be causing this right here. And so that's what we have to look into now. But again, if I just told my media buyer, hey, look into Optins, that's your KPI, he'd be scaling to the moon right now and wouldn't even know that downstream things are breaking, okay? And now this is a hiring example of this. But the truth is this is actually getting a little more complex because now if we look into the following metric, which is what is our cost per application submitted? Well, our KPI target is about $200. Right now, we're at $284, which is somewhat close. Hence why I'm putting it yellow. It's like not a crazy red flag, but we are off target with it. Now, looking into that, you might be saying, well, I could be cautiously scaling or maintaining with my budget. Yeah, but then again, look downstream once again. Do you care about applicants, about cost per applicant, or about qualified applicants? Totally different thing, right? So some people could actually not get disqualified by the pre-qualification at the start and still not be 100% qualified at the end. I'll give you an example. In this case, for the hiring funnel, we're asking at the end of the process, we're asking people essentially to send us a video of themselves for a minute or two to introduce themselves to us and why they should be considered for the role. Or they send a pre-recorded video that clearly has been done and sent to like a gazillion employers. And so it's like, okay, well, this person just shot themselves in the foot right at the end, so they're not really a qualified applicant. So here we're in the red still, right? We're getting only 7 qualified applicants out of the 40 that we want to get. But this is this really the problem? Because looking at it again, if we compared against our original application target, which is 300, and we wanted to get 40 qualified applicants, that gives us an average target of about 13% of total applicants to be like actually fully qualified. Well, right here, we're at 7 out of 21. So if you do the quick math right here, instead of 13%, we're at about a third of all applicants are being, deemed qualified right now. So 30%. Right here. So we're doing good. So really the only bottleneck right now is people are not completing their application. And so again, I can think of 3 ways in which to fix this. The 2 that I mentioned earlier, which is we either change the ads messaging to bring in more qualified people. Number 2, we fix the funnel in itself and either reduce friction, change the way it's built. Or number 3, I also changed the way I'm optimizing my ads in order to stop optimizing for an opt-in. And I changed the optimization event for an application submitted so that it actually goes to people that are more downstream in the funnel. So those are all the ways in which I can fix this. Now, I'm going to be showing you another ad account right here of another client in another industry. And so what I want to show you is perhaps, let's just go Saturday to yesterday at the time of recording this video. And so right here, we have a couple different campaigns live on the account. And let's look through all of those, okay? Now, again, if you look into cost per lead right here, you might be saying, wow, this top campaign right here has definitely the lowest cost per lead, which, by the way, we're not optimizing for this event. We're actually optimizing for a cost per application submitted. But nonetheless, I'm like, okay, great. Very low cost per lead. Let's scale this up. But then again, let's look a step further, right? Now, cost per application submitted. So the process here in this funnel is lead to application to call booked to sales process or a close eventually happening. So right here, $55 cost per lead. Okay. So now if we look into the next step, we have a $45 cost per application. So clearly there's something wrong. Like what I'm seeing right here is that we're not like leads are not reporting the right way or we're over reporting in applications, but let's just not really look into that for the time being. Again, I know this is wrong in itself because this should be cheaper than this in reality, but let's keep going. Cost per appointment, about $272. Now this top ad right here, does it have the lowest cost per appointment? Actually, it doesn't, right? The ad that does have the lowest cost per appointment is this one right here, okay? This one campaign right here actually has almost double the cost per lead, but a lower cost per appointment. Now, it has a higher cost per application started, but more of the application that are started are booking an appointment, which means the people that we're sending here, although more expensive, are more qualified. But then yet again, is this the campaign that is getting us the most closes? No, funnily enough, it's this one. This one campaign right here is not getting us the highest nor the lowest cost per lead. It's not getting us the highest nor the lowest cost per application. It's definitely getting us on the higher end of appointments. But look at this, right? We're getting a lot more sales from this one right here. 231 CPA on an ad like that. Which what that tells me is, hey, like we're sending very qualified people right here. Now, why 11 where we have 8 right here? It could either be cross attribution with other ads, or it could also be like a multiple payment plans for this ad right here, since again, this is an info product offer. And so once again, it's like if I killed ads or campaigns purely based on cost per lead, I would be shooting myself in the foot because I'm like, I don't have the full picture. If I did it, same thing on an application submitted, it's like it has nothing to do with appointments and it has nothing to do with purchases. Now, it's not to say that optimizing for the lowest cost per lead possible is not going to help you in the back end, but I can almost with certainty tell you that there is literally virtually zero correlation with a low cost per lead and a low CAC. Like I have seen ads with a very high cost per lead or cost per appointment still get the absolute lowest CAC on the account. Like some ads are getting almost 100% closing rate from these ads. It's like the ads or the campaign or the angle or the funnel is just much more dialed in and brings us just much more qualified individuals. And so going back to it, it's like if I scaled any of these other campaigns, I would have been scaling the wrong campaign. And I think this video specifically applies a little bit more to info product or coaching businesses because e-commerce businesses, it's a little more straightforward. It's like you will by nature optimize for sales. You'll by nature optimize for purchases. And so I think it goes without saying that most individuals know not to optimize for add to carts, for landing page views, for whatever, because it's seriously, there's no correlation between a low add to cart rate on an ad and like a low CPA at the end of the day. So with that being said, it's always, always, always optimize for the lowest metric possible within that funnel. The more you can bring your advertising dollars, so your ad spend, closest to bank account value, the better results you're going to get, the more aligned your ads are going to be, and the more Meta will go out and find you these qualified individuals. And so if you've made it all the way through this video and you own an e-commerce brand or an info product and coaching business, check out the first link in the description down below to book in a call with myself and the team at paidadvertising.com today. And on the other hand, if you want to work one-on-one with me and have me review your offers, paid ads, funnels, name it, check out a second link in the description down below to join our Ad Engine one-on-one inner circle today. On that note, make sure you check out other videos on the channel for some more useful e-commerce and info product marketing tips, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Peace.